Welcome to Violin Adventures number 224. We start off with a flood. Well, it's Tuesday morning. I don't know if you can see the snow is starting to fall. And yes, we did get flooded. The water came up pretty close to the wall, although I have all our mats out here drying. Here in the shop, the whole floor was wet, but thankfully got it all cleaned up. Got everything on the tables here and on the benches. So I spent a day cleaning up all the floor. So we got a beautiful floor, clean enough to eat on. And now I'm going to clear off all the tables and put everything back. And hopefully no more flooding the rest of this year. So here on the workbenches, instead of instruments being repaired, we have all these things. Here's the tiles that went down here on the floor. Over here are the bottles of sealer coat, and we've got a big box here of leather. Over here are two violins that are probably not even worth repairing, but they're fun to open these old cases. And I just want you to know, as soon as the water started coming in, we immediately took all the instruments upstairs where they're safe and sound. And I'll bring those down after I finish setting up this room. Well, we've now got all the instruments back in their places on the benches, and we can start work again. I'll show you where we're at. Here's the cello. We're working on the color on the top. Here's the violin. We need to shape the bass bar, and then we can close it up. And here's our new violin just hanging out. We continue work on our early 1900s violin. Well, we're back to work. You can see Professor has been here working on his cello, and now we're going to get back on this violin. Okay, we have good tone here with a new bass bar. You can feel that nothing is holding it back. Now, the original crack, the original bass bar crack, we have it covered with this new bass bar, but there's just one small section up here near the tip of the sound hole where I'm going to put in a little cleat just to be sure that it's strong enough to hold. I'm going to heat up the hide glue and get this cleated up. Oh, look at this. Wake up to a really white world, and it's still snowing. It's very, very cold out here. But the snow is quite flaky and shiny. You can see here how the wind just blew this snow into here. This is probably about a foot high. Well, in cleaning up after the flood, I came across my little box, my shadow box of treasures. So let's look at them and you can see what they are. This, of course, is a beautiful old antique tool, and most of you probably know what this is, but isn't that beautiful? There's one. This here is a little pocket fingernail clippers. So it still works good. Now some of you may know this. What is this? It's a little tube of peg compound for the pegs. And what's neat is it's in this nice little tube, and there's the compound. Here's an old rule still in the box. Now y'all know what this is. What do you think that is? It's beautiful. And then this is also another. This one is the original Yehudi Menuhin shoulder rest. Then of course we have a nice old mechanical pencil. We have a very tiny scroll that somebody made. And then these were special. There's a beautiful bridge. And here's another one with these circles here and this design here. These are the treasures that I gathered up when I first started learning to repair instruments. Here's our special violin that we just finished. We gave it a new bass bar, repaired the cracks, set it all back up again, and now a bow that's not too heavy and that has a good tone that matches with this violin. violin is all set up, ready to go. Let's just hear it one last time. Time for a story. Okay, we're reading in Violins and Violinists by Franz Farga, and we were reading about Viotti and how he played so elegantly with noble tone and balanced bowing. And then it says, yet overwhelmingly as these triumphs were, they did not last very long. 2 years later, an incident happened which had a great effect on Viotti's career. One of his Paris concerts in Passion Week was poorly attended, and the audience was, for some reason or other, rather cool, although Viotti, according to expert opinion, played better than ever. To make things still worse, a somewhat mediocre fiddler appeared on the following evening with great success. Viotti, who may have thought that all this was an intrigue financed by his enemies, was so furious at the fickleness of the French public that he swore never to play in Paris again. He stuck to his decision for 9 years, except for occasional concerts given for specially invited guests at Versailles. This renunciation of violin playing was somewhat facilitated by Viotti's wish to be a theatrical manager. During his stay in Paris, he first conducted a private band. At that time, he shared an apartment with his friend Cherubini and was busy composing and teaching his pupils, playing his new compositions every Sunday morning in Cherubini's salon. After some time, he was given the management of a small theater in which he produced Italian opera, his compatriot, the violinist Mestrino, acting as leader of the orchestra. When the National Assembly ordered the court to leave Versailles and move to Paris, the theater had perforce to be closed. This cost Viotti his fortune. He found some financial backers, however, who helped him to found the theater, and he made his pupil, Pierre Rodet, the leader of the second violins. Then the French Revolution broke out. The little theater had to close down. Viotti attempted to revive the concert spiritual, conducting them himself and letting Rodet appear as soloist. This enterprise naturally suffered greatly from the increasing terror of the revolutionary epoch, and Viotti decided to leave France altogether and settle in London. A circle of first-class artists were working in London at the time, including Joseph Haydn, and arranged a series of concerts in Hanover Square, which became increasingly popular. He persuaded Viotti to play again with great success. But this period also came to a sudden end. Viotti was suspected of being a French secret agent and had to leave England at short notice. He went to Germany, a disappointed man, and lived in Schoenfeld for a few years. There he wrote some of his most effective violin duets and a violin manual. In 1801, he was allowed to return to England, but this time the public welcomed him rather coolly, so he decided to pay a visit to Paris. Again, the audience was enthusiastic. A. Lowe wrote this about Viotti's playing. Everything seemed to flow without effort, softly yet powerfully. He climbed the heights of inspiration. His tone was magnificent, sweet but metallic, as though the tender bow were handled by the arm of Hercules. Despite this success, Viotti soon returned to London. He became a merchant. However, Viotti was unlucky as a merchant. Totally ruined, he went back to Paris. At Cherubini's recommendation, Louis VIII entrusted him with the management of a grand opera. Viotti held this office for 3 years, but without conspicuous success because composers let him down. He received a small pension and went back again to London, where he died in 1824. His grave is unknown. Viotti was the last great representative of classic Italian violin playing. Despite his masterly technique, he treated the violin first and foremost as a voice part. His influence on French violinists was immense. Some music historians go so far as to call him the father of French violin playing. As a composer, he is still held in high esteem. Where he studied harmony and composition is unknown, but he must have had a good teacher, for the technique of his duets, trios, quartets, and his work for piano and orchestral accompaniment is masterly. He always preferred to write for his own instrument, and his chamber music consists mostly of violin solos with an accompaniment by other instruments. Nevertheless, he gives the violin everything it can possibly demand. There is a wealth of good music in his 29 violin concertos, which are well worth the study of any violinist. And then it discusses some of his concertos. Viotti also wrote 18 violin sonatas, which are technically exacting and a treasure trove of happy sound. His 50 admirable violin duets will not be quickly forgotten. These are remarkable little works of art with great value in the training of violinists. Besides, they are full of melodious ideas and delicate harmonies. So that finishes the chapter on Viotti. The next chapter is the French Trio. Freddie wants to chat.
Hi. I'm Freddie. And I have a video sent in from Abigail Martinez. She and her brother needed a shed on their property, and so they built it all by themselves. So Abigail is 14, and Nathan, her brother, is 12 years old. Hope you enjoy! Wow, you did a great job building that shed. It looks really good. Thanks for sending in your video, and if you have any projects you're working on, please send them to me. Freddie. Bye!
The Hebrew Minute. Va'ani kirvat. Elohim li tov. Shati ba'adonai Hashem. Maksi. Lasefer kol malakotecha. So we start here. It is good for me to draw near to God. I have put my trust or found refuge in the Lord my God, so that I might declare all your works. If you know where this is found, please leave it in the comments below. This is Friday afternoon. It is so bright and so cold. Let's go inside. Here we are inside, nice and warm. We've got our new violin here, and here the cradle is empty because that violin is off on its way home. I removed all that. It just wasn't matching. I wasn't happy with it. And so I went back to the ground floor with a nice sealer that looks really good. When the weather warms up, then I will finish this off with a different method, and it should look, I'm hoping it's going to look real good. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all your lovely comments. Thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you to the new subscribers. And until next time, bye.